The next topic is properties of LTI systems. So far we have discussed about what is an LTI system, and what is the important characteristic of an LTI system, that is the impulse response. Using this impulse response, we can predict the behavior of the LTI system. We have found a way to predict the behavior of the LTI system with its impulse response. How? When you convolve the impulse response with any given general input x of t or f of t, then we will get the output y of t. This is the response of the LTI system. For any given input, when you convolve it with the impulse response, you will get the corresponding response of the system. So the system behavior can be predicted. So now we look at properties of LTI systems, different properties of LTI systems. The first property of LTI system is commutative property. So what does commutative property say? In general, commutative means A plus B equals to B plus A, right? General commutative property of addition. That is for addition. Now, when we are talking about LTI systems, we have convolution. We have convolution, right? The output of a continuous time LTI system, which has an input f of t and an impulse response h of t. When the input is f of t and impulse response is h of t, then the output of the LTI system is given as y of t is equals to f of t convolved with h of t. From properties of convolution, what do we have? Convolution is commutative in nature. So f of t convolved with h of t is equivalent to h of t convolved with f of t. So this is the first property of LTI system. The next property is, so basically what does it say is, it says your input and the impulse response can be interchanged. Even if they are interchanged, my response remains the same. Suppose if I give input x of t to a system with impulse response h of t, I get y of t. Then I can give input h of t to a system with impulse response x of t. Then this also produces the same y of t. So that is what commutative property states. Now, distributive property, a parallel combination of LTI systems. If you look at this is a parallel combination, right? Parallel combination of LTI system. This is one LTI system and this is the other LTI system. Then a parallel combination of LTI system can be replaced by a single LTI system with an impulse response which is equal to the sum of the individual impulse responses. So here I have h1 of t and h2 of t. I have two systems which are connected in parallel. Now this parallel combination, what I can do is I can replace it by a single system whose impulse response is sum of these individual impulse responses, sum of h1 and h2. So this is the distributive property, the proof for the distributive property, right? So parallel combination can be replaced by sum of the individual impulse responses, right? Parallel combination of impulse responses can be replaced by sum of the individual impulse responses. Then we'll look at associative property. The impulse response of the cascade of two systems. In distributive property, we had parallel combination of two systems, right? We had parallel combination of two systems in case of distributed property. Now in associative property, we have cascade combination, cascade or series combination. So we have f of t, and then we have two systems in series, h1 and h2, and then we have y of t. Now when they are in series, I can replace this entire system with convolution of the individual impulse responses. I can just use convolution of individual impulse responses. Parallel combination, then it is nothing but sum of the individual impulse responses. Series combination, it is convolution of individual impulse responses. Then we have the fourth property of LTI systems, that is static and dynamic. A system, when is it known as a static system? If the output at any given time depends only at the input at that particular time. If I want output at t is equal to 1, then output at t is equal to 1, that is y of t at t is equal to 1, right? Output at t is equal to 1 means I need y of 1. Then what should it be dependent on? It should only depend on x of 1. It should only depend on x of 1. That is, it should only depend on the input at the same time instant. It should not depend on other time instances. So if the system is something like this, then we call it static. If it depends on other time instances also, then we call it dynamic, right? Then we call it dynamic system. For a continuous LTI system, if its unit impulse response h of t is 0 for t not equal to 0, then it is static. For a continuous time system, it is static if the unit impulse response h of t is equals to 0 for t not equals to 0. Static systems are also called memoryless systems, right? Because it is only dependent on that particular time instant and not the previous or the next time instances. It does not have any memory. So they are called memoryless LTI systems. So memoryless LTI systems are characterized by this response. My input at that particular time into some constant multiplied by some constant. It can have any constant, right? And its impulse response h of t is always is equal to k into delta of t, right? When the input f of t is when f of t is equals to delta of t, that is it's equals to a unit impulse function, then the corresponding response of the system y of t is nothing but h of t. So I'm going to substitute y and f as h and delta in the equation here. So I'll get my unit impulse response. When k, the multiplicative constant, is 1, what will happen? Y of t is equals to x of t. Whatever is my input, it is my output. So what is such system called? Such system is identity system. My input is same as the output, or my output is same as the input. Such system is called identity system, right? So dynamic system means it has memory. That means it is not only dependent on that particular time instant, but is also dependent on previous inputs and the future inputs. So it is called memory system. The next property is invertibility of LTI systems. A system is known to be invertible only if an inverse system exists. It is called invertible only when an inverse system exists. So inverse system if the inverse system is cascaded with the original system, right? First I have my x of t, or let me say my f of t. F of t is passed through a system with impulse response h of t, and I have my output some z of t. Now if I pass this z of t to another system with impulse response h1 of t such that it produces f of t, such that it produces my original function f of t, then we'll say there exists an inverse for the LTI system h of t, right? My first LTI system, my first LTI system. So if the impulse response of the original system, when it is cascaded with the impulse response of the inverse system, when these two are cascaded with each other, they can be replaced by convolution, h of t convolved with h1 of t. This is nothing but your identity system. This is nothing but your identity system. Why are we calling it an identity system? Because I am giving input as f of t here, and again at the output I have f of t. So it is the identity system. So that is the property of LTI system, that is invertibility property of LTI system. Then we have causal system. What is causality? Causality means, when is a system called causal? When it is only defined for values of t greater than 0, only defined for positive values of t. So similarly, when is an LTI system causal? We have already told that LTI system can be completely characterized by its impulse response. So a continuous LTI system is a causal if its impulse response h of t is defined only for positive values of t. h of t h of t must only be defined for positive values of t. For negative values of t, it must be 0, right? That is what this expression here tells us. H of t is equals to 0 for t less than 0, right? When t is less than 0, h of t is equal to 0. Then the given continuous time LTI system is a causal system. It is a causal system. If you look at this, h of t is equal to delta of t minus t naught. How does it look like? H of t is delta of t minus t naught. So that is somewhere here. T is equals to t naught. We have a impulse function. We have an impulse function at delta of t minus t naught. And this is my h of t. H of t. So it is only defined for t is equal to t naught, and t naught is also greater than 0. It is greater than 0. Hence we can say this system is causal LTI system. If you look at this here, okay, I don't think you can see this. Let me draw it here again. This is for h of t is equals to delta t minus t naught. Delta t minus t naught is nothing but an impulse at t is equal to t naught. Impulse at t is equals to t naught. Since it is on the positive side of t and all the values on the negative side of t are 0, this is a causal system. This is a causal system. Now similarly, if I look at this function here, this impulse response, h of t is delta of t plus t naught. Now t plus t naught means it will be somewhere over here at minus t naught. It will be there at minus t naught, an impulse. So it is defined at a value of t which is less than 0. It is defined at value of t which is less than 0. Since it is defined for a value of t that is less than 0, the given system will be non-causal. The given system will be non-causal. That is causality of LTI systems. Then we'll move on to stability of LTI system. A system is said to be stable if it produces bounded output for every bounded input. Right? If my input is bounded, that is, if my input does not go to infinity anywhere, it has a finite value, then my system also should produce a bounded output. If it does not produce a bounded output for a bounded input, then it is unstable. Right? If it produces a bounded output for every bounded input, then it is stable. So what is the condition that is sufficient to prove that a system is stable? If I look at the impulse response, right? If I look at the impulse response, my LTI system can be completely characterized in terms of impulse response. So based on my impulse response itself, I can find a necessary and sufficient condition to find the stability of LTI system. So what is the condition? Integral minus infinite to infinite mod h of t dt must be less than infinity. If this condition is satisfied, I can say my system, LTI system, is stable. Right? This is the condition for stability. In addition, if my LTI system is causal, if my LTI system is causal, then what happens to h of tau? H of tau is only defined for h of t is only defined for is not equal to 0 for t greater than 0. It is 0 for t less than 0. Right? This is the definition for causal LTI system. This is the definition for causal LTI system. So for a causal LTI system, what will be the stability criteria or stability condition? Instead of minus infinite to infinite, my limits will now be 0 to infinity. My limits will now be 0 to infinity. Right? That is the stability of LTI systems. Then finally we have unit step response of LTI system. If you remember, we have discussed the impulse response of LTI system. What is impulse response of LTI system? For an LTI system, if the input is an impulse function, then the corresponding output is called impulse response. Corresponding output is called impulse response. Now, if the input is a unit step function, for an LTI system, then the corresponding output is called step response. And it is denoted by S of t. It is not G of t here. It is S of t. Right? So when the input for the LTI system is a unit step function, the corresponding output is called step response of LTI system. Now, S of t is nothing but convolution of U of t and impulse response. How? We have already defined that for any given input, if you want to find the output of the system, what we'll do, we'll just convolve the input and the impulse response, right? That is, y of t is equals to x of t, which is my input, or f of t, you can consider anything, convolved with impulse response h of t. Right? Now, my input is nothing but u of t. So instead of x of t, I am going to write u of t. Instead of x of t, I am going to write u of t. And what is my corresponding output It is the step function or a step response. So my y of t is equivalent to s of t. My y of t is equivalent to s of t. Now if I convolve these two, these are continuous time functions u of t and h of t. Now what is the convolution formula? Minus infinite to plus infinite, minus infinite to plus infinite, u of tau, h of t minus tau, h of t minus tau, d tau. I can also write it as minus infinite to infinite, I can write h of tau, u of t minus tau, d tau. Right? Now instead of u of t minus tau, how can I define u of t minus tau? U of t minus tau is equals to 1 when t minus tau is greater than 0. For all other values it is less than 0. So if I take this tau to the other side, my tau is less than t. So what is the range of tau? From minus infinite to t. So I can write this as some integration minus infinite to t h of tau u of t minus tau is 1 in this range and d tau. So this is my formula for step response. So to find the step response also, all I need is impulse response. If I have the impulse response, I can find the step response. So basically if you look at all the properties, if you know the impulse response, you can find the step response, you can find the stability, right? You can find the invertibility, you can find causality, you can find all other properties, associative, whether the system is associative or whether the system is static, dynamic, every property you can find just based on the impulse response. That is why we have said an LTI system is completely characterized by its impulse response, right?